Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. You know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It is Wednesday, March the 6th. Today is National Dentist's Day. Also, National Dress Day, National Frozen Food Day, National White Chocolate Cheesecake Day, National Oreo Cookie Day. You like Oreo cookies?
I love Oreos and I love white chocolate cheesecake.
Oh, it's all good. And it's Ash Wednesday today as well. All of those things happening on this special Wednesday.
But I am absolutely terrified of the dentist. Like, unreasonably.
When I mentioned
I've never had a bad
Day,
experience.
I picture the drill in my helmet.
I don't know why I'm so afraid, but I am absolutely petrified.
You know, here, if it makes you feel better, they're just as afraid of you as you are of them.
I'm sure they are.
They're more afraid of you. Like you got your fingers, their fingers in your mouth. You might bite them. It is also a special day because we're going to talk with Dr. Christopher Kelly about his new book, Am I Dying? So if you know somebody who's ever got on the internet and looked at a symptom and thought, oh no, I'm going to die, you definitely want to listen up because he's actually written a book on that very topic. He's a doctor who has fielded those calls. I'm excited to chat with him. That's on the way.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Now, surveys and studies and such, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A study by FakeSpot found that 52% of online reviews are fake. Over half
I'm sure.
of online reviews are
Yeah,
fake.
I'm sure.
Here's the thing. I've actually read some that I think are probably fake, and then I've read some where it's just somebody that's really mad about something that happened, and they're just venting. And I almost think that the ones where they're really mad and just venting about something that happened to them and only them, I'm like, that's not going to happen to me. I mean,
it depends on if it's a hotel that was nasty and there was, hairs on my pillows and stuff like that, you can pretty much take that to the bank.
I saw one where there was a person complaining about a restaurant, and they said, they were complaining about how I ordered something and it wasn't up to my specifications.
Well, those kinds of things. That's a personal preference.
And that's what I was thinking. I've never complained about food ever, but if there's some people who complain about every meal hoping to get a free meal, they're never going to leave a positive review. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the online reviews anyway, to each their own. But now there's a new survey that says over half of them are fake. So there you go.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website BetterCreditCards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. BetterCreditCards.net. That's BetterCreditCards.net.
And this is Your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by TimeForRehab.com. Video footage of a drunken JetBlue passenger throwing a tantrum has gone viral. This is actually from a few weeks ago. I'm about 2 weeks behind on these stories, Heidi. I've got quite the queue right now. I've got a big, long lineup of stories of people doing dumb things under the influence. Valerie Gonzalez was reportedly taken off a JetBlue flight from Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International. She was heading to Las Vegas. She became upset that she was seated next to a 3-year-old. And according to the affidavit, the 32-year-old said, "I'm not sitting next to a blank 3-year-old. I've been drinking all day." She didn't say blank. She said something else. Fellow passengers said they shared this incident on Twitter, racked up about 60,000 views.
Wow.
She was complaining, said she didn't do anything wrong. Other passengers began filming her conversation. She was kind of being loud and belligerent. Later, she shouted at passengers while gathering her things and left the plane. Didn't end well for her. She was arrested and charged with battery because she hit an employee. So it's one thing to, say something and be rude, but you don't hit people. I mean, at least you didn't hit the 3-year-old. That would have been really bad. But, that's...
See, I would have been thrilled to sit by a 3-year-old. I love to talk to kids.
Entertain you. It's a lot more fun than sitting next
I'd
to me.
rather talk to kids than talk to an adult.
Yeah, this lady got in a little bit of trouble. But that's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Real Housewives of Atlanta star Peter Thompson was arrested in Miami for fraudulent check writing. That's not good. So, it seems that those people that are involved
Does
in
anybody
those
even
shows,
write checks anymore? I guess I'm surprised that's even still a thing.
Oh yeah, I see people.
I didn't
do
think
it.
most people even took checks
You know,
anymore.
I don't have a checking account anymore.
I do. I have.
Well,
I have
I've got the one that
checkbook.
you're on, but I
I
haven't
pay
carried-
bills, but
I
with
haven't
it,
used a check. I remember the last check that I had written. I had to think, okay, what do I put in this blank? Oh,
I
that's the
can't
name.
tell you the last time I was in like a store or something and I had to wait for somebody to write a check.
Just had that happen the other day because I had
Did
a guy,
you?
Yeah, the guy behind me was complaining. He's like, "Oh my god, he's writing a check." He's like freaking out behind me. I'm like, "Dude, you can go ahead of him if you want. It's not that big a deal. It doesn't take that long. It's not like she's applying for a loan here. It's gonna be. pretty quick.
I haven't seen it forever.
All
I
right.
kind of miss it.
One more story here, quick. Oprah Winfrey is going to interview the men who accused Michael Jackson of molesting them in the movie Leaving Netherlands. So she's going to be doing an interview with them. It's going to do it for Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
Here's a fun trip back to the 80s.
Surely you can't be serious.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert May 3rd and 4th. Hang out with other 80s fans.
International language of love.
Meet several 80s icons from the movies and rock out to awesome music from the 80s. Flock of Seagulls, The Romantics, Mr. Scandal with Patti Smythe, Thomas Dolby, Pretty Poison, and more. See the full list of bands and icons at RadioTravelGroup.com. That's RadioTravelGroup.com.
Now your scoop of the day, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. The world's longest and fastest dive roller coaster is expected to open at Wonderland Theme Park in Canada this spring. Passengers will hit speeds of up to 80 miles per hour, and they'll drop 245 feet during a ride that lasts 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Sound like you're kind of fun?
I love roller coasters.
But when we go to theme parks, you hardly ever want to go on roller coasters.
I like the roller coasters. I don't like to go on anything else.
Oh, the spinning
the
stuff,
spinning
as we know,
stuff.
yeah.
I can't spin. And ever since
God.
having the kids, I cannot spin. I get sick.
Do you have any favorite roller coaster or theme park stories that you'd like to share? No?
Not that I can share.
I have a couple, but I remember the one that it was like the walk of shame. We were at.
I felt so bad for you.
What was the name
This
of
was
that place?
horrible. Adventureland in
just outside
Des Moines,
of Des Moines,
Iowa.
Just outside of Des Moines,
Yeah.
Iowa. I'm not a little guy by any means. I've never tried to claim to be a little guy. So we go to this theme park. I probably weighed less then than I do now.
I know you did.
So we go to this theme park, and I'm asking the kids and my wife, "You guys want to go on this thing with me?" It was a ride that goes kind of upside down and spins
Yeah,
around.
it spins.
Nobody
I couldn't
wanted to
spin.
do it. So I was like, fine, I'll go by myself. So I walk up this thing, and I wait 45 minutes, probably that long, maybe 20 minutes, whatever. Get to the front of the line, and they put me on the ride. Well, then when they're trying to latch the safety harnesses for everybody, it wouldn't latch, and it kept coming up. And okay, everybody, we're going to try it again. Comes back up, and they're like, they kind of talk amongst themselves, and they come over to me and like, "Sir, I don't think you're going to be able to ride the ride." So I didn't fit on the ride. I was like, "Oh."
No, but
Well, it's-
after you left,
So I get
after
off.
you got off,
I do the waddle of shame.
and it was like 12 ramps to get down.
It wasn't just a
It
simple
was just embarrassing. It was back and forth and back and forth. I was like, "Oh, you poor thing."
zig-zag. And I went, "Hey guys," and I went, "How you doing again?" And just keep going down. Then I get to the bottom, and they still couldn't get it to latch.
Yeah, it still wasn't latching.
wasn't
So it
me.
wasn't you.
And they even said, "Hey, you want to come back up?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." Yeah, for some reason, I just don't have a hankering to ride that ride anymore. Thank you
That
so
was
much.
awful.
That was the most awful walk of shame ever, or like I call it, the waddle of shame. Have you ever heard of Saucony? Saucony. It's a shoe store.
Yes, I have.
A shoe
brand.
Whatever. They've unveiled a new avocado toast theme running shoe.
Avocado toast?
It's $130 for a pair of
What?
them. They're Saucamoles, because it's Saucony and guacamole. Saucamoles. It's a shoe. Yes, I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. The shoe has green upper trim. It's supposed to represent the avocado, and a brown lower trim that represents the toast.
That sounds hideous.
So, is that a thing? Are they going to start making shoes like food? Okay, this represents the whatever.
That's ridiculous.
So they've got the green for the avocado. I got the hiccups all.
I wonder if they'll make some that are for like ketchup and French fries.
They probably wouldn't have running shoes with those because people who want to go running should have a hankering for You got the new mashed potato and gravy night? You don't? Okay. Guess I'll settle for this one.
White chocolate cheesecake.
Thinking something a little more line of the tofu shoe. You got one of those? An Oregon man survived 5 days of being trapped on a snowmobile by eating Taco Bell sauce packets for 5 days. That's all he had. He was trapped. And luckily, had these in his pocket. That's how he survived 5 days. Can you imagine eating nothing but Taco Bell hot sauce packets for 5 days?
No.
He's fortunate that he had that, I guess. But boy, that just doesn't sound like a fun weekend to me. So 5 days, a fun week, actually. 5 days of being trapped with nothing but that.
Yikes.
It's going to do it for our Scoop of the Day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Scoop of the Day brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net.
Do you have IRS tax problems? Are they keeping you up at night? Afraid to open your own mail or even answer your telephone? If your tax problems are affecting your family life, you need to know you have options. You have rights. And we'll make sure you get them. Call and speak with Mike Habib, the tax expert who will handle your case at 877-78-TAXES or online at myirs.taxrelief.com. That's 877-78-TAXES or myirs.taxrelief.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We have Dr. Christopher Kelly joining us today about his new book, Am I Dying? A Complete Guide to Your Symptoms and What to Do Next. How are you doing, Dr. Kelly?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks very much for having me on, John.
Absolutely. Excited to visit with you. Now, I know some people who are maybe a little bit on the hypochondriac side, where every little thing they have happen, they think it's the worst possible thing. But then I also know some people who have never gone to see a doctor for anything ever. You probably want to land somewhere in the middle on that, don't you?
Yeah, I think some appropriate caution is a good idea without getting anxious all the time about every little symptom that you have. Don't ignore them completely, though.
And what are some symptoms that you should never, ever, ever, ever ignore?
Yeah, so there's quite a few. So just taking a step back for a second. So the whole point of the book is to go through symptoms in a very systematic way. So the book covers about 40 different symptoms, helps people understand for each symptom when they can chill out, as we say, when they can make an appointment with their doctor, and when they need to go to the emergency room. So for 40 different symptoms, you'll understand like what the likely cause is and what you need to do about it. And we do try to make it very lighthearted and easy to read. The symptoms that we get concerned about the most, so I'm a cardiologist and my writing partner is as well. So chest pain is something we deal with all the time in our patients, thankfully not in ourselves. And chest pain can be a sign of a heart attack, so it's something people need to pay attention to. If you're having chest pain that feels like someone's sitting on your chest, it gets worse when you try to exert yourself. You have shortness of breath and maybe a rapid heart rate also. That is concerning for a heart attack, and that's a time where especially, if you have risk factors like diabetes or high blood pressure, you should see someone in the emergency room right away. Another symptom people should never ever ignore, because every minute counts in getting treatment, is symptoms of a stroke. So if you have new onset numbness or weakness in one of your arms or legs, if you have slurred speech all of a sudden, you didn't just knock back your 20th daiquiri, you should definitely see a doctor immediately, because a stroke is very treatable if it's treated early.
Now, what are some of the things that maybe get overreacted to the most? Are there things that you guys see over and over and over where people come in thinking this is a major, big problem, but really it's probably not a big deal?
Yeah. So, people are pretty in tune with their bodies, but one of the symptoms that we deal with a lot around this time of year is people coming in with fever and cough, runny nose, and people call us up and ask for a Z-Pack or antibiotics. And the truth is it's cold and flu season. People are getting colds with the symptoms I described: runny nose, fever, cough. That you don't need to see your doctor about that. You don't need antibiotics for that. All you really need is to drink water, take something like Tylenol, and maybe some decongestants. The only time where you really need to get worried is if you have a high fever for more than, let's say, 2 days, you have shortness of breath, you're coughing up a lot of gross-looking stuff. That could indicate an actual lung infection that does need antibiotics. Now,
we live in an age where everything I ever wanted to know is just a click away if I know what to ask for. There are sites out there that are specifically set up for this, the WebMDs of the world. But why is it that it seems like every time somebody goes on one of those, they always say it's like the worst, like you have cancer, or you have, some terrible, awful, terrible thing?
Yeah.
Are the sites designed to be that way?
So I think a lot of these are commercial sites. Their goal is user engagement. They want people to come to their site and stay on their site and look at ads and click their links and come back again the next day. So one of the great ways to engage people is to scare them a little bit. So these sites often will throw out pretty scary explanations for symptoms up front, and so you go on just because you've had a bothersome cough for 2 or 3 days and you're convinced that you have lung cancer. And lung cancer is, of course, one of many possible explanations for a cough, but it's usually not in the top 10 list of most likely explanations. But these sites don't always acknowledge that, and so people get scared, they get anxious because the information they're getting is a little misleading. I think we've all understood in the last year or two that information online can be a little misleading, and certainly health is no exception to that.
Absolutely. Again, the book is out right now. It's called Am I Dying? A Complete Guide to Your Symptoms and What to Do Next. Our guest that we've been visiting with here is Dr. Christopher Kelly. He's one of the authors, and then also Dr. Mark Eisenberg is the other author. Now, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us. I'm going to throw a link in our show notes to make it easy to find the book. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
Thanks very much for speaking with me.
Again, the book is out right now, Am I Dying? A Complete Guide to Your Symptoms and What to Do Next. I have a link to the book in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. Bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
There's a brewery in Japan that makes beer from elephant dung. Ugh. Who wants that?
Yuck.
A brewery, Sankt Gallen, produces a beer called Un Kono Kuro. It's made with coffee beans that have passed through an elephant, and it's a huge hit. So it's a beer that's made from a coffee bean that's been through an elephant. None of that sounds good to me.
How would you like to have to harvest those things?
Yeah, not a fan. Now, what's your job? You don't want to know.
But there's another, there's coffees that
go through like a
go
bird.
through
Yeah.
monkeys, I thought.
Yeah, and there's another one that goes through a bird. And it's supposedly the digestive fluids in their stomach make the coffee
Who
less
was the first
acidic.
person
I
who
don't
said,
know.
let's try this? Hey, look, there's coffee beans in there.
I can see it as
Anybody
a
want a
prank.
cup?
I could see it as a prank where they're like, let's make some of that for Joe. What do you think? He's like, what do you think of it? He's like, it's actually the best coffee I've ever had. No way. Yeah, best coffee ever. Now I want to try it. You know where those beans came from?
You just got to wonder who was first person who said, let's sift those coffee beans out of there.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but somebody did it. And that person is probably lost to history because you wouldn't want to be known as that. All right, this has been a fun fact. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Here's a fun trip back to the 80s.
Surely you can't be serious.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert May 3rd and 4th. Hang out with other 80s bands.
International language of love.
Meet several 80s icons from the movies and rock out to awesome music from the 80s. Flock of Seagulls, The Romantics, Mr. Mister, Scandal with Patti Smythe, Thomas Dolby, Pretty Poison, and more. See the full list of bands and icons at radiotravelgroup.com. That's radiotravelgroup.com.
Now, fear this. Time for fun with phobias. Pluto Phobia. Pluto Phobia. Pluto Phobia. Pluto Phobia. What do you think that one is, Heidi?
Fear of planets?
No, that would make a lot of sense, but it's the fear of wealth. What? Why is that a thing? First of all, I'm not wealthy, so I guess I don't know firsthand what it would be like to be wealthy, but I certainly wouldn't be afraid of being wealthy. You know, I don't get that fear of wealth. But then if that is a thing, why is it called Pluto Phobia?
I don't know. And if you're afraid of being wealthy, just give it all away.
Yeah, that's easy enough.
That's nothing to be afraid
Problem
of.
solved.
You can do great things with
This
it.
is not a fear that's needed by anybody.
No,
So,
this is
there you go.
ridiculous.
Pluto Phobia. Today's fun with phobias.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Now, some weird news brought to you by weirdgiftoftheday.com. $300 for hash browns at McDonald's. What?
What?
Yeah, that's...
Did they pass through an elephant?
No, they did not. If you missed that earlier, that was expensive beer and coffee and stuff. A Connecticut man may have to pay that price, not to the restaurant chain, but as a fine to a police department. Jason Steiber was pulled over and ticketed for distracted driving. He was using a handheld phone behind the wheel, but he claimed, no, it's mistaken identity. I wasn't even on the phone. I was holding a hash brown. Really? Up to your ear? Anyway, he fought the ticket and lost, was back in court to appeal the ruling. His lawyer was quoted saying, the cop says he saw my client's lips moving. My client's lips were moving because he was chewing a hash brown. Lawyers submitted phone records that showed his client was not on the phone at the time of this alleged infraction and pointed out that his car is equipped with a hands-free Bluetooth connection. So if he were going to be on the phone, you wouldn't have seen it anyway.
Right.
So, I don't know. If the hash brown does
sounds
not fit,
to me like he
quit.
should win that one. I mean, that kind of sounds pretty.
Round, so I don't know. We'll see. That's weird news. Brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. Now your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. An Ohio sheriff suggests if you're wanted by the law and you have stolen goods in your car, don't park illegally in a handicap spot in front of the sheriff's office. You shouldn't have to be told that. But that's exactly what happened. Can you imagine this? Jones, this is the officer, he says, they approached an illegally parked car and they arrested a 35-year-old man when he tried to flee on foot. He says the 31-year-old woman that was in the car came out and saw a man being cuffed. Says the woman jumped into another parked car and demanded that the driver, who had a baby on board, help her get away. I don't understand all of that. Anyway, the driver refused. She was also arrested, the woman. She tried to flee with some stranger, apparently.
Okay.
Said, hey, punch it, Margaret, let's go. No. I'm not taking off with you in the car. Facebook post showed the vehicle filled with stolen merchandise. The pair was booked for outstanding warrants, and they were both arrested. So they were both wanted already. They'd both gone on a stealing spree, had a carload full of stolen goods, and parked illegally in a handicap spot in front of the sheriff's office.
Wow.
That's today's moment of duh.
That's super smart.
I don't know what you could do to deserve more of a moment of duh than that. So, yeah, you win.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. Bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
Now, these three things. Heidi, tell me, what do these three things have in common? And all of these you have to add another word to.
Okay.
I got to make sure I tell you that. Kind of. Flower, vegetable, Madison Square.
Garden.
Yeah, flower garden, vegetable garden, Madison Square garden. So they're all
What do you mean,
gardens.
kind of? You had to add another word.
Well, they're all gardens, so you didn't really have to. But the last one you did. Like a vegetable garden. I guess you kind of had to in all of them. I forgot how this game works. It's these three things.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. Comes your way courtesy of RadioTravelClub.com. And if you go to that site, you'll find some information on an event that my beautiful bride and I will be going to in Las Vegas, May 3rd and 4th. All of the details at RadioTravelClub.com. Here's the good news. As a thank you for being saved from the butcher, Pigcasso has produced paintings worth $145,000 for charity. Pigcasso, Heidi.
I've seen Pigcasso.
Pigcasso. This is actually kind of an adorable story, really.
It's really not.
I would love to try to train our dogs to paint a painting now. Because I'm looking at this going, well, you could probably train our dogs to do this.
And
I don't know.
is there like video proof that this
Yeah.
pig has done all
yeah.
of these? Because I mean, at a certain point, you could just kind of put a paintbrush in your own mouth and say, "Hey, these are all from Picasso."
In between your toes, one on each foot.
Right?
One on
I mean,
each hand.
I mean, I can see, if there's an actual video for
There
each
is.
painting.
Well, I don't know about for each painting.
And
but
it should come with that video, so
This-
you know for sure this pig did your
Oh, yeah.
painting.
This is like a video of authenticity.
Right.
Well,
Right.
Picasso is a pig prodigy that was led to the butcher block. But they saved him from the butcher block, and they named him or her Pigcasso. Saved from a livestock farm in 2016 thanks to rescuers from the Farm Sanctuary SA just outside of Cape Town, South Africa. Shortly after that, they gave her some toys to play with, and one of those things was a set of paintbrushes. And the rescuers thought, well, let's put some non-toxic paint on there and see what happens. And boom, they got an artist on their hands. So far, the artwork from Pigcasso has raised over $145,000 to benefit the sanctuary that saved her. Some of the paintings have sold for as much as $4,000 each. So if you want to get some artwork painted by a pig, tell me what you want and I'll paint it. Oh, no. I mean, you can get a hold of Pigcasso.
I bet it's not even the pig that does
It
most
is.
of
There's
those.
there's a video right there of the pig painting
Okay,
this one.
painting that one.
Wow, what do you think they...
I mean, you think they've got that pig painting all the time?
No, it's not like he's doing landscapes or watercolors. Right? It's just paint smeared on a canvas.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't think that at a certain point, this pig probably died they probably had it for breakfast 3 months ago, and they're still painting his
It's a legit thing.
pictures.
I've got a video to prove it. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye.
Haters gonna hate over here. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. If you want to see video evidence, I've got a link to the Pigcasso story. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.